What it is, Joel. Sorry, you got to go down for a moment. Okay, so today is January the 26th. First, let me start out with who I am. What it is, you guys, it is your girl, Cadillac. Yes, I am Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping to see justice before all fades to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Yes, anyways, I am coming through on the 26th of January. Girl, I was supposed to be at work. I was asleep. Let me tell you first, let me give you the little rundown. Yesterday, I got off like an hour and a half early because my nephew Juju wanted me to go to literacy night with him. I remember always doing this with my nephew Isaiah and my daughter Money. Like the elementary school have a lot of different has a lot of different activities and stuff for the parents to teach the kids, and then the kids come out, they have little raffle prizes, this and that. They're actually really fun. Like, I wish they had these types of things when I was a child, but then again, my mother was busy. I don't think she would have came to any of those things. And my dad sure didn't come to I don't even remember him coming to nothing. When I graduated in 2020, my mother passed away, but I know she would have been there. My dad, and we had a drive-by graduation. All that long time it took me to get out of school. I graduated at 39 years old. This was an accomplishment. And so we were having a drive-by graduation. They drop you off, you get out the car, you walk across the stage, your parents or your family is hanging out the window of the car, taking pictures, this and that. And my dad was like, do I really have to go? And I'm like, yes, you have to go. You have to be there. And it's not that my dad means anything by it. He just don't like doing stuff like that. I don't know. But he doesn't really, I guess, realize how important it is to the kids. But of course, he didn't grow up like that. He grew up in Mississippi, one of, I think it was 12 to 13 of them. He had to drop out of school in middle school to get a job, and he tells me about his first job driving the school bus. So he doesn't understand those types of things. So I will in no way hold that against him. But yes, you have to be there. But I just wish we would have had those things, because that strengthens a child, and that gives that child that foundation that they're going to need to get through, like Willie D says, this wild and crazy, beautiful world. A lot of times our kids are rigged up to fail, especially when it comes to African American kids. Anyway, before I get into that, I do have a couple of pictures. I will post those on my community page as well. On my community page, you can see a lot of my sunset photography. That is my new thing. I love to do. I love to walk. I love to be in nature, because it feels like it resets me. And I'm an artist, so I love like capturing the paintings. These are God's paintings every night, every sunset, and I love to capture them. Eventually, I think I'm going to put them like in some type of photo thing. And I was thinking about starting an Instagram specifically just for my photography, sunset photography. But yeah, so you have to encourage your child. Me, even as an artist, I wasn't encouraged growing up. And I think I possibly could have achieved the dreams that I wanted. I basically have been my only encouragement. There are a few people around me that encourage me. But basically, for me, I always just have to encourage myself. I have to tell myself, Keita, you are good enough. Your art is good enough, because I don't really have a support system, and I've never freaking had that. And with the support system, what could I be? I think I could have been times whatever I am now. So I believe the children are our future. Yeah, Whitney hit that on the head. But yeah, so I believe in more so cultivating whatever is in that child. Just like Juju, I can tell he's going to be an artist. So I'm going to be there to support him. I'm going to be there to encourage him and stuff like that. because our youth sometimes seems like they were set up to fail, and especially black youth. It really feels like they are, like I had that song, statistically, I done became what they thought I'd be, a young single black mother with no degree. Well, if this the game, it seems like it was rigged up to me. Yeah, I'm asking for answers, and don't lie to me. Now statistically, he done became what y'all thought he'd be, a young black male in jail or on the streets. Well, if this the game, it seems like it was rigged up to me. Yeah, I'm asking for answers, and don't lie to me. Now, from the get-go, they told him that he wouldn't be nothing. He wouldn't amount to nothing. Look at him now. He exactly what they told him. Like they predestined him to be, statistically, the epitome of these gutter grimy streets. He wears his pants down to the floor, but that's all he know. Ain't like his father was there to tell or maybe show him. Now he's a player, a pimp, a gangster, and everything in between. But can you really actually blame him? The streets done chased off his dreams. You see, the streets is his reality show, and he's the star. He gets the money, the bling, the women, the fancy cars. But somebody please tell him the ending, because I don't think he knows. The ground or jail for 20 is how it goes. See, when a baby is born, his mind is just like clay. You got to mold it and tell him that, baby, it'll be okay. You got to tell him that he is a king and women's queens. You got to tell him to never give up on his dreams. Yeah, it's your girl Cadillac. But for real, it's like we predestine our children. Like, why are we birthing especially boys for the grave and for prison? That literally makes no sense to me. Why are we having these boys that we are going to bury prematurely and we're going to incarcerate? So to avoid those, because that is where the statistics say that these boys are going to end up in the third grade. Here in Florida, I've been very active ever since, which a lot of people say, oh, you only do that because your husband in prison. Baby, it's true. Yeah, I did only do it because my husband went to prison, because that is what opened my eyes to how this system worked. Before, I was closed-eyed too, just like almost everybody else. I was blind to the facts of what they're doing. But when I seen that, and I seen his rights violated, and I seen them discard him like a piece of trash, Marcello Jackson, who is not a piece of trash, who is a human in flesh and blood. When I seen them discard him like that, baby, that woke me up real quick. That sobered me up. Get up. We got to do something about this. I have nephews. You might have sons. Do you not care what's happening to them? Do you not care what they've predestined over them? We have got to stop it, because we can't just keep birthing our men for the grave and for prison. What? So I started going to all these meetings, specifically so I could meet some of the senators, some of these lawmakers, to get some change, to tell them our story, to let them know, hey, these are humans behind these numbers, these quotas you're meeting. These are human lives, right? And I'll never forget, there was a senator that was saying that in the third grade, this was the time that Florida had these FCATs. Oh my gosh, that test was ridiculous. When I first got out of school, they were testing the FCAT on us, but we didn't need to actually take it. Later, Money did have to take the FCAT. And before FCAT, they had something called dibbles. Money was taking dibbles. Money was not a test taker, just like a lot of other students may not be test takers like that. But they do all their homework. They do everything that they need to do. But if they don't pass these competency tests, they fail. I literally had to sit in a meeting with Money, the counselor, the teacher, and I believe the principal. every year from kindergarten to third grade on why they should not fail my child. And it was because she was not doing so great on those tests. And that senator sat right up there and he said that in the third grade, we are determining with these children whether we need prison beds for them or whether we need scholarships. Okay, so then that means the schooling matters. Okay, so now let's look at our schools in some of the more impoverished areas versus our schools in some of the more affluent areas. Money was going to a more affluent school in high school when my mother passed. She wanted to get out of that school because boy called her an N-word. And the teacher wouldn't do anything about it. Didn't say nothing about it, did nothing. I had to talk to her, but they wouldn't do anything. And I had to let her know that, hey, I'm sorry, baby girl. This is what you don't want to, conversation you don't want to have with your child. Like, you are Black. So you are at some point most likely going to deal with some small-minded individuals who just don't like you because of who they perceive you to be because of your Black skin. They assume that all Black people are the same, which we aren't. I have yet to meet another Black woman just like me. I believe we're more so products of our environment than we are act a certain way because of our color. I believe we act where we come from. Your environment is who raises you. Your environment is maybe the activities your parents put you in or the lack of activities, the attention your parents gave you or the lack of attention. It may not be the parents' fault because I was a single mother by force, not choice. It wasn't always easy to be ever present in my daughter's life, but I made that I said to me, Keita, your life is over and it's all about this child. So I made it a point to be ever present in her life. But some mothers can't do that. They have to work 2 and 3 jobs. And especially in this time, the average person can't even make it without 2 to 3 jobs. So those children with lacks of parental guidance, that's their environment, that's going to affect them. That's going to affect what crowds they run with. If the mother ain't there, how she know her child coming straight home after school? How does she know her child ain't running around in the street? Like stuff like that. But they are predestining our Black boys to just be criminals. And a Black male does not have to turn out a criminal. A Black male, I have so many successful Black, this is why I can't believe this, that we're just more criminalized than other races, because I have so many Black men in my family that are not criminals. I have my father, a wonderful man that raised his children, didn't run away from his children. You know, them children were, they was off the chain. For real, except for me, girl, because I was good. I ain't did nothing, girl. Even my parents told me that I was the child that gave them the less trouble, but some of the other ones, they gave them a run for their monies. But he came home every day. He provided. He may not have came to the school functions because he was out there working all day, every day in Florida heat because he was a construction worker, but he was taking care of his kids. You know what I'm saying? I have my cousin. He graduated top of his class, had several scholarships all laid out to whatever school he wanted to go to. Black male. I have my other cousin. He works on cars. He does all types of stuff. He's not in jail. Never. I don't know if he has been in jail. He may have, but he haven't done any time like that. Like, I have another cousin. Y'all see D_Almighty Mac. Never been in trouble with the law. He's dealing with a lot of disabilities, but yet he's still getting up working. He still does his cooking and cleaning and this and that. I have another cousin, Phil the Bad Guy. That may be his name, but boy, Phil the Bad Guy is an awesome rapper. You talking about somebody that can freestyle. Oh my God. I used to put him in every single freestyle competition. He's always worked. He has children himself. He takes care of his children. I mean, he has his own place to stay. Like, I'm not understanding. He's a truck driver as well. I'm not understanding how, if it was so definite that black men were more criminalized, how did it miss all these different black men that I know? There are several of the black men that were in my church growing up, in the youth department, that was over the, there's one that he now has his own church, but he used to drive the church bus and pick us up. And he was very prevalent in our lives, like teaching us and guiding us and stuff like that. I had another one that he worked in the schools. He worked in the schools. He did lawn service on the side. Like, all I see is hardworking black men around me. So now I'm trying to figure out. And then I also work with a bunch of them. They young, they old, they black men working. They not all out there in the streets. A lot of them are trying to make it. I have my friend T-Rex. He been working since day one. On the side, he's a DJ. He's an artist. So where are all these? I know that exists. A stereotype exists because somebody does fit that description. But that doesn't make them the spokesperson for all black people. And I made a quote one time, and I really, truly love it. When one black person does something wrong, they group us all together and say, see, that's how black people are. But when one black person does something right, they individualize us and say, no, that's just one out of many. Why is that? Why are we always painted in the worst light? And I'm so sorry to get into this long rant, but I am so passionate about my people. I love my black people. We are people who have been stripped of everything that is us, stripped of our language, stripped of our culture, stripped of everything, brought to a country where we knew nothing. We were made to build. We can't ignore this. This happened. It happened. We were made to build this land. And then we were made to, after building, they wanted us out of this land. Out this land. And this is the segue into a topic that he wasn't even African American. He knows I do YouTube, and he's always asking me, it's a coworker, always asking me, how's your YouTube going? How's your YouTube going? I'm like, slowly but steadily. I guess it's growing, but it's like a pot boiling where I cannot just sit and watch this pot. Hold on, it's getting hot in this car. It's hot. Florida hot. And every time I sit in this car, I think about when we did that beat the heat challenge. Because Florida DOC does not have AC in Florida. They claim it's a luxury when people be falling out. Like, people get sick from how hot it is. So the simulation was to let up your windows and let the regular Florida heat just come in. And that's a portion of how it feels to be incarcerated. So every time I get hot like this, I think about that beat the heat challenge that we did. I can link that in the description box below, but I gotta turn this AC on. And I am sorry for the noise that it may cause, but it is hot. I'm sorry, guys. But so he knows, this coworker knows I do YouTube, and he actually knows why I do it. A lot of times I don't tell people exactly what my YouTube is about because people judge. But I've had too many conversations with him to know that he actually knows what the heck is going on around. Like, for real, he is not a closed-eyed person. He is very much open-eyed about what is happening. So he's always asking about my YouTube. So he was like, why don't you do the topic of our governor? And he's wanting to take out the curriculum on critical race theory. Okay, so the overall reason that he wants to delete this from education, and it's not like they do this deep in-depth thing about, our history as black people or African Americans or whatever you're going to call us, the history of us. Like, it's not like they do deep in like everything that we can, like a deep dive into it. It's still light, but he doesn't want to do that because it may cause shame on other races because of what happened. Okay, that is true. It could. But what I believe is that this generation could be the generation to break all of that curse. You know why? Because the isms only would last so long if it's not retaught and retaught and retaught. And if we really actually face the fact of how my people were completely done horribly, and if any other race of people were treated in the way that we were treated, could they rise above? I believe if we weren't held back so much, because now they're not holding us back right in your face. They're holding us back behind the scenes, like with this prison situation, like with housing, like with education. Those are the ways they're continuing to hold our community down and back. But we're resilient. I have been held back so much because of my skin color, but I'm resilient and I will overcome. But if you don't teach the past and what happened, how can we avoid going through this again in the future? And you cannot say that that was the past and move on, because we're still dealing with the facts from that past. Mass incarceration came out of that. That was the evolution